Welcome back to the Golf and Athletics podcast. I am your host, Ryan Haydes. Today we have Mark Mullery Jr. on the show. Mark, welcome to the show, man.
All right, thanks for having me, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Mark, I want to get into a little bit about your game, where you are with your game, how you play, kind of the philosophy behind your game. But before we get into that, I want to kind of let the audience know Mark is a assistant pro, correct?
Yes, sir.
At a golf course in Florida.
Myrtle Beach.
Myrtle Beach, okay.
Yeah.
And so, Mark, how long have you been playing golf?
I've been playing golf ever since I was little. And once I got to high school, I played baseball all throughout my life. But towards my junior year, senior year, I really started to take golf seriously. And when I moved down here, I went to the Golf Academy of America. And that just really got me going hard with golf, and I really wanted to become the best golfer I could be. And the Golf Academy really helped me do that and got me to where I am today.
Awesome. So, Mark, tell us about your experience with golf and getting started in it. Some like early memories of the game, like things that really stood out to you as like, this is why I got hooked on the game, and this is maybe you can talk a little bit about some growing experiences that you've had throughout the game since.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was little, my dad got me started with golf. My dad, my grandpa, we would go out quite often. And, I fell in love with it. It's a great sport. And like I said, I really didn't start taking it seriously till my senior year of high school. And, I wasn't very good. I never broke 80. I was mid 80s, low 90s kind of golfer. And, golfing like that, it's in that fun point of golf where you can get better, but how much better can you actually get? And honestly, that was the most enjoyable part for me, was seeing how good I could get, because I personally feel like I have a good work ethic when it comes to sports and golf. And just reaching the level of where I wanted to be, it was a lot of work and I enjoyed it. And where I'm at today, I've had many memories and triumphs of failure that have gotten me to where I am today, and it's just a lot of fun. I've enjoyed every bit of it. And tournament golf is something that I pay great attributes to. It's helped me a lot with confidence, my own game, and it's helped out a ton. It really has.
So to kind of give the audience a little bit of perspective, what type of scores are you shooting now as a competitive golfer?
So I'm usually shooting high 60s to low 70s. I'm coming off my first professional win this past season on the Coastal Players Tour, where I shot 468. Just a one-day event, but capturing that first pro win is something I worked very hard for. I've been playing professionally for about 2.5, 3 years now, and the past 2 years it's been tough. It really has. I just wasn't shooting the scores I knew I was capable of. And this year, I put a lot of extra hard work in, and it finally paid off. And I was able to cash a couple of checks this year, actually, and grab that first elusive win. So it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
So when you say you were putting in some extra work to get those scores down, what does that look like for you? Is it more range time? Is it more doing drills? Is it just playing more golf, playing more rounds? Like, what are you working on specifically to drop those scores?
Honestly, I always used to think it was playing. Like the more you play, the better you'll get, which is true. There's nothing wrong with that. But for my personal game, I really found that spending lots of time at the range, using alignment sticks, using drills, that's perfect. That's quite honestly made my game a lot better. It's got me more, I guess you could say, in a rhythm, becoming more consistent. Because when you're hitting 400 or 500 golf balls a day at the range, you really start to sink in that motion of what you're trying to do. Kind of like perfecting your own craft, so to speak. I have a very unorthodox swing. It's nothing conventional, and I feel like I've honed it in to the best of my ability right now. Always working to get better, but definitely range time and a lot of short game practice has dropped my score significantly and has caused me to become more consistent in tournaments.
And so when you say you're finding your rhythm out on the range, would you how much of scoring well do you think is attributed to good tempo and timing in your game?
Tempo with me is huge. I try and eliminate the left side of the golf course out of my game completely. Now I'm a right-handed golfer, so which means I hit cuts a lot. And I made the change about a year and a half ago when hitting cuts primarily. And quite honestly, tempo with cuts, if you have the right tempo and you're in sync with it, I mean, quite honestly, I'm not going to say the game's easy by any means, but it makes it feel a lot easier when you can eliminate that left side out and you have good tempo on the backswing follow through, and the timing takes care of itself. So as long as you have that down, you can definitely post some low scores. At least I feel so anyway.
Okay. What mentally what mentally shifted for you, like when you started shooting in the low 70s and the high 60s, rather than shooting high 70s low 80s? What, other than putting time in on the range and short game and things like that, what are some other maybe mental perspective shifts that you had that kind of were like your aha moments, like, oh, okay, this is what I need to do in order to get my scores down, or maybe not have a blow up hole, or things like that?
It's actually funny you mentioned that. I was actually talking to my girlfriend about this probably about a month or two ago. So last year I was playing in a Coastal Players event, and it was the first hole. And obviously I'm very nervous on the first tee, as many people are. And it's first hole, there's probably about 30, 40 people watching. And I completely blocked my tee shot, like 40 yards right into the trees. I had no idea what happened. And my girlfriend was my caddy for that tournament. And I said, hey, Liz, her name's Alyssa. I was like, hey, Liz, throw me another ball. And she's like, for what? And I was like, just, throw me another ball. I got to re-tee. She goes, you already hit. And I was like, Liz, I got to re-tee. I hit it out of bounds. And so I re-teed. We're driving down the fairway. And she goes, did you hear that bird in like the woodpecker in the tree? And I'm like, wait, what? And, she just got my mind out of what I just did, blocked my tee shot. First hole of the tournament. Obviously, it's like you think the world's going to end. And she just got me in the mindset that, it's okay. Like, it's just one shot, and with her on my bag that tournament, I actually came back to make 7 birdies that tournament, shot 3 under, and put myself in a good position to contend for day 2. And, that for me was I pay big attributes to that, because I always would get so fixated on what I'm doing wrong. And, that mistake is going to cost me the tournament, when in fact, it's all mental. If you feel that way, you're not going to bounce back from it. So, by her getting me to think like, okay, it's just one shot, it's over with, focus on the next one, don't dwell on it. It really helped me mentally, especially going into this year. I took that with me, and I feel like that one moment sticks out big for me in my playing career. Just that, one shot isn't going to define the entire tournament. You have many more shots to go, and you just got to stay focused and keep grinding out there.
I love that. That's what separates the people who make it and the people that don't. The ones that can face that adversity and face the adversity and work their way through it. It's always going to pay off. And it's being able to like control. I think controlling your frustration levels out on the course is huge. I mean, because you could have just as easily spiraled out of control and made a triple bogey on the first hole.
Yeah. So, I made a double, and, I don't show a lot of frustration on the course. Like, I don't throw clubs or anything like that,
right.
But I get, I'm like, oh, like that's horrible. I can't believe I just did that. And, she's over there thinking about like the bird that's pecking in the tree, so there's many different ways to go about it mentally, and taking a little bit of what she was doing, like essentially not caring. Obviously I care, but you know, you can care too much. You can put too much pressure on yourself. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's just another round of golf. You just got to trust your preparation and just go out and play, you know, at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, we do play this thing for fun, right?
Right. Exactly. It's all fun. Mm-hmm.
So, tell me a little bit about your regimen with fitness. Do you work out? Do you have a program that you follow? Do you do mostly stuff at home? Like, what does your fitness life look like?
So the past couple of years, you know, I've been in the gym, doing a lot of self weight. I don't really usually do a lot of heavy weights. It's more like core stability, personal weights, you know, body weight, stuff like that. And obviously this year has hurt that quite a bit with COVID going on and all that. So I've gotten some couple things I do at the house on a daily basis, all self weight, no weights. And quite honestly, I feel that has made the biggest impact for me, with my fitness, just being able to, you know, if you can hone in your own weight and do multiple exercises with that, you know, the odds of you straining a muscle or pulling something or doing an exercise the wrong way with weights, I feel like that's helped me a lot. And quite honestly, I'm the strongest I've ever been after doing that this year with COVID. Working out at home has gotten me into a point where, you know, I feel very confident physically, and it's shown in my golf game as well. I mean, my driving distance has gone up significantly. My irons are more crisp, but I can hit them further. And just all in all, the fitness regimen that I follow with all self weight has helped me tremendously, I feel.
How much yardage, if you had to guess, like how much yardage would you say you've gained since you started working out?
So since I started working out, and I'll just take this year for example, when I started this year, I was probably close to like 185, 190, and I've gotten up to 205 as my highest. And I'd say my yardage has gone up at least 20 yards with my driver. I mean, I'm hitting it 300 yards consistently now, and I feel it's a lot of my upper body and the lower body that I've done. I feel like I can just rotate so much harder through the golf ball. And, you know, without the fitness part of things, um, you know, my golf game wouldn't be nearly as good as it is right now. The fitness has improved my game a lot.
Interesting. Yeah, I think anybody who spends time working out is going to benefit, you know, in their golf game. Just simply, even if it is body weight stuff, and because you're still working and exercising those muscles there, and that's that's where results show up, right? Is do whatever you can do consistently. So
Yeah,
whether you're lifting weights, whether you're doing body weight exercises, whether you're using bands, or I don't care. Even if it's running, I mean, even just running and doing cardio, doing something consistently is going to yield results in some way, shape, or form. And
absolutely.
I
You're
think
right.
that the fact that you've been able to implement the body weight stuff specifically and know your body well enough to do that is it's a huge benefit. Obviously, if you're gaining yardage and you're hitting the ball farther, then there's definitely a strong correlation there.
Right.
What do you think as far as gaining more muscle and getting bigger and faster and stronger? Do you feel like gaining strength has prohibited you from having touch and feel around the greens or around some of your more like finesse shots?
You know, honestly, doing self weight, no. Now, going back to last year, using weights and stuff like that, I really did feel that my, I'm not going to say it got worse, but I did feel, now I could have been working out the wrong way because I never had a trainer with weights. So I could have been doing something and putting more strain on my arms than necessary, you know, hence leading to, I guess, a loss of the finesse, you can say. Um, but this year, doing all self weight, I mean, my short game now. Granted, I have worked harder at it, but I don't feel any, you know, any restraints with finesse and touch and short game, from the self weight exercises that I've been doing.
Okay. What are there any drills that you do specifically when you're practicing?
Absolutely. There's one drill where I swear by it. When I'm on the range, there's not a single ball I hit when I don't do this drill. And it's very simple. All I do is take one alignment stick and put it on the outside of the golf ball. And I'd say when I set my club head down, it's probably like, this is my club head, this is the alignment stick. It's probably like right there. I keep it very close to the alignment stick. And the only thing I focus on is trying to hit the divot as straight as possible. Because with me, when I cut the ball, I have a tendency to come over the top just a tad bit, hence making it really cut. And with that alignment stick, it's instant feedback to where if that divot is going like this across the alignment stick, as opposed to going like this, I mean, I can tell right away that it may be a good shot, but it's got way too much spin. The spin rate's way too high. So I just put that alignment stick down. And I mean, I've literally hit, I'd probably say like 10,000 golf balls in a row at the range like that. There's not a single ball I hit that I don't have that alignment stick down.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we all have to have things that we know about. We have to know what our swing is doing, and we have to know how we can very quickly correct the faults in our swing, right? Like for me, I know that I have the tendency to sway a little bit too much from left to right rather than turn. And
Right.
so I have to focus on, I do drills with the true turn and I do drills with other things too, to make sure that I'm always focusing on rotating rather than swaying.
Right.
So that's cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about some of your favorite experiences with golf. Like, what are you? I know that you're playing professionally now. Can you think of any times throughout your career that you've just like had the most fun playing? Like, what keeps you interested in golf?
So leading up to this year, the thing that's kept me, interested in golf is just going out there and competing. Going out, I knew I could shoot high 60s, and I do it all the time with my buddies playing. But that tournament atmosphere, there's just something about it that's different. And I would love competing. I'd love waking up, the day of, and even like a week leading up to the tournament, just being able to go out and practice with a purpose, practice for that course specifically. It's just a lot of fun, and when you put in that work and you get to the course, sometimes it doesn't work out, but that's why you keep, going at it, trying harder, getting better. But this year, I mean, winning that first professional event, it was just, I mean, it was amazing. I had so much fun. And honestly, I just couldn't really do wrong. I did have two bogeys that round, but they were self-inflicted. They were mental errors. And overall though, it was an amazing experience for me personally, and I learned a lot from it. And just the confidence of knowing that I can do it, I can compete with the guys that are playing on mini tours, the Corn Ferry, stuff like that, where I can compete with them. And I proved that to myself, and it was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, that you gained a new level of confidence
Yes.
from putting yourself in the fire and testing your abilities.
Yep.
I love that. What what do you think what do you think the average golfer needs to hear from somebody who competes regularly and somebody who's like somebody who's a player? What do you think the average golfer listening to this podcast needs to hear in order to take their game to the next level?
Honestly, I think one thing that I would say that I personally follow is trust your go-to shots. And what I mean by that, me personally, my go-to shot's a cut. I can hit a draw if I absolutely need to, but if you give me an open fairway, I'm going with my go-to shot every time. And by doing that, like I mentioned earlier in our podcast, it just eliminates the left side of the golf course for me. So if you're an amateur golfer out there and you're struggling with what shot should I play here, how do I do this, how do I do that, if you have one go-to shot, even if it's a cut and it's a dogleg left, take less club off the tee, get yourself in the fairway, and go from there. It's only one shot at a time. So if you need to hit, a hybrid or a 2 or 3 iron off the tee to get yourself in the fairway, you may have a little bit longer of a shot in, but at least, you're not going to, overhook it by trying to draw it. So if you just have that one go-to shot, and if you can establish that go-to shot, I feel that'll pay dividends for you guys in the long run.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because then you're playing from a place of confidence. You know that you're playing from a place of probability.
Right. Exactly.
And
Yeah.
and that probability, just definitely is a big confidence boost for sure.
Yeah.
So talking about like golf, like overall as an industry, what do you think the newer generation needs for golf to be more popular, like to grow the game?
What do I think it needs?
Yeah, what do you think golf needs in order to grow the game?
Honestly, I feel like it needs more kids. The first tee program is a huge program that I believe in. One of my sponsors is SCNS Sports, and they're a platinum partner of the first tee. So when I see kids out there golfing and putting in the work and trying to get better, and not staying inside and playing video games, I think that's a huge attribute that's going to help the younger generation get introduced and grow with golf. Is just getting out there and playing. Whether it's with your dad, your mom, grandparents, anybody like that, just getting you out on the course, getting you introduced to it. Even just going to the driving range, getting a club in the hand is, for me personally, it was a lot of fun as a child. And, thankfully I was able to, grow up and really continue that passion with it. But yeah, just getting out there and playing, watching what the guys on TV are doing, like Bryson DeChambeau. Obviously, power is becoming a very large part of our game nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And quite honestly, I think it's good for the game. I really do. And I feel like the younger you get into the game, the easier, I guess you could say easier, it's going to be to learn how you play the game, learn what your strengths are, what you need to get better at, and just make it enjoyable, and enjoy yourself out there. Because at the end of the day, like we said, it's just a game. We're out there to have fun, so.
What do you think, getting into the power talk, what do you think power versus accuracy, what do you think plays a bigger advantage?
Honestly, I'm going to say power. And simply for this reason alone, if you have a 450-yard par four, okay, long par four, if you're whacking it out there and you're going to have, say, a 9-iron in your hands, even if you're in the rough, as opposed to having, a hybrid or a 6-iron or 5-iron in your hands, from like 210 out, I take my chances with that 9-iron from the rough than a 6 or 5-iron from the middle of the fairway. Obviously, there's different scenarios where you need to be smart and have course management, but in today's day and game, I think power wins. I truly feel that way. And Bryson, I'm going to keep referring back to him. I look up to what he's doing. I'm not as scientific by any means, but what he's doing with power, it's really amazing. And I've really tried to take some stuff from him as far as what he does with power and kind of put it into my own game. And it's helped a lot. It really has.
Are you drinking 3 protein shakes a day?
Not drinking any Orgain, nothing like that.
Hey.
However, I drink a lot of milk. I drink 2 tall glasses of milk a day. And I think that's helped with my weight a lot with the muscle I've gained. You've heard, the milk's great for the bones. And,
yeah.
The milk has helped me a lot with power, and protein bars as well, obviously.
Okay. Yeah. I think you're right. I think that if you can get the ball further down the fairway,
mm-hmm.
regardless of whether or not it's in the fairway, but
right.
closer to the green is always, I think, going to be a bigger advantage than dead center.
Yep. And you know, there's a quote that I remember Tiger Woods saying back from his younger days. You know, when he would do those golf clinics at the driving range, you know, he would say, swing as hard as you possibly can on two conditions. One, you can stay balanced, and two, you can guarantee you're going to hit the center of the club face. If you can find that medium, that happy medium of you can swing as hard as you physically can, as long as you can stay balanced and not fall over, and two, hit the center of the club face. I feel like that's a great thing to take from, because there's a difference from swinging out of your shoes to swinging hard. And swinging hard doesn't necessarily mean you need to jump out of your shoes and fall over. You know, there's different ways to gain that power. And I feel Tiger said it best by saying those two things there.
Yeah. His dad used to say that to him.
Yeah. I think that's what he was saying.
His dad was the one that told him that. And yeah, it makes sense. It makes 100% sense, you know?
It does. Yep.
Tell me a little bit about your equipment. What do you use? What's in your bag?
So I swear by TaylorMade woods. I've always played a TaylorMade wood, you know, back from, you know, the TaylorMade burner up to the sim driver I have now. I've always been a TaylorMade guy as far as woods go. Irons, I've jumped back and forth a little bit. 2 years ago, I got the 718 AP2s from Titleist, and quite honestly, I have them custom fit to my liking. Feel the launch, the spin rate. I love the 718 AP2s that Titleist made. You know, they're a great fit for my game, and I like the control I can have with all my irons. With the 718 AP2s, I have a pitching wedge through a 6-iron. Then the 4 and 5 iron, I also have Titleist TMBs, a little bit more cavity back, just for a little bit more forgiveness. And then I carry a 2 and 3 iron, and those are the TaylorMade Gapper series. They have a speed foam insert in their club head that, quite honestly, I feel is amazing. I mean, my distance with my 2 and 3 iron, whether I'm hitting a stinger, a high shot, low shot, you know, I really feel confidence in the power that I can use from the TaylorMade Gapper. And as far as wedges go, I use the SM7s. I have 3 different grinds, the F, M, and S, just custom to my liking. It's what I like. You know, I play a lot of Bermuda grass, so I don't need that low grind and that low spin. So I use those bounces for that reason. But that about sums up my bag. And then I use a new putter I put in the bag this year for the first time. My grandpa actually got it for me just as a whim. He's like, hey, try this putter. And I actually ended up falling in love with it. It was an Odyssey White Hot. And I actually have Tiger Woods' PP58 Ping Working Man grip on it. And I just fell in love with it. And so I love it. I really do.
The good old Ping putter grip. Yeah, I remember that.
The PP50.
Huh?
The PP58 is what they call it. I love it. You can really feel it in your hands. You can feel the entire club right in your hands, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, it has the little dude on it, right? It says Ping, and then it has the little guy on the bottom of it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And I also have, I said I swear by TaylorMade woods, but I actually have a Nike Vapor 3 wood that I bring out occasionally. When I'm playing a course that's a little bit tighter, I like to hit a lot of stingers. And so, I'll even take the driver out of the bag and take the 3 wood and, hit those stingers out there if it's tight enough where, driver can kind of get you in a little bit of trouble. So I do use that occasionally, but primarily I've always been a TaylorMade wood guy, and the irons and wedges, Titleist, just something that I've personally come to a custom of liking.
Very good. What shafts do you have in your AP2s?
Project X, and they are, I'm drawing a blank right now. I want to say the S300s, just regular stiff.
Yeah, Project X shafts are amazing. I had the Project X 6.0.
Oh, okay.
In my Mizuno MP32s, but I'm not playing the Mizunos anymore because I hit too many balls in the sweet spot, and now the grooves are gone, so I'm playing playing AP2s now.
Oh, okay, nice.
with a S300 shaft in it.
Yep. I actually had those exact same Mizuno irons when I was at the academy.
The MP32s?
And I loved them. I really did. But, you know, I tinkered with the lofts and lies a little bit to the point where I couldn't get them back to where they should have been. So I had to get new clubs. But for when I had them, I loved them. They were a great set of irons, and I really enjoyed them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, I want to thank you for coming on to the show, and thank you for telling us about your expertise and your advice. I'm sure that the people listening to this are going to be able to take some value from it and implement it into their own game.
Absolutely. You having me on the show, Ryan.
Absolutely. We'll get you back on here again soon. And those of you that are listening, I want to thank you for listening to the show. And as always, aim small, swing smooth. Peace.